Hi, my name is Isaac. For my confirmation video, I've essentially decided to do sort of a monologue or a talk describing my favorite group of verses. I hope you like it. My favorite verse is Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. And it says, "Not only that, but we rejoice in our suffering, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us." Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. What this means to me. To me, personally, this passage does bring out a few points that I felt were very touching. Number 1, suffering. I'm not sure if this connotes to everyone, but to me, it shows that as a human being, suffering is unavoidable. Since sin entered the world, that dark swirling affliction has plagued us from the beginning of time. It will torment the believers. It will torment the unbelievers. Nobody is spared from suffering. Musical interpretation. Adding to the vocal explanation of my favorite verses, I will also compare the selection to a piece of music for better understanding. For this piece relating to suffering, I chose the background piece to the IsaacChen video. I feel like it really embodies the sadness of suffering, but it also hints a major key, much like the hope from suffering at the end of Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. Number 2, the process. While this message is somewhat grim and disheartening, the passage also delivers the most righteous way or process to deal with the suffering. The path the Bible directs us on is to not lose heart, to have that suffering produce endurance, endurance character, and character hope. Musical interpretation for the process. For the process, the piece I chose was Bach's Cello Suite. It was actually meant as a prelude, which back then was for musicians to warm up their hands. After the prelude, it would transition into the main melody. This is much like the process, which preludes the hope resulting from suffering. Number 3, hope. The hope at the end of this sequence is the comfort and assurance from above as we push through the turbulence of our troubles. That comforts me because it promises that the hope in God produced from suffering will not put me to disappointment because of God's unrelenting love poured into us through the Holy Spirit. God's love simply does not fail. Musical interpretation for hope. For hope, I chose Jesus, joy of man's desiring, because it is also a piece that enlightens hope in Jesus. Conclusion. So, whenever I'm faced with the problems sure to come, which I know will only increase as life goes on, I know to take comfort from these verses. Through my explanation, I hope you may also realize the comfort Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5 brings as a very meaningful passage for me and hopefully for you. Thank you.